9:08's the time. It's AM 650, KGAB Radio. My name's Clem Woods. Thanks for joining me. On the phone with me this hour of the program, representative all the way up in Campbell County in the Gillette area, Scott Clem. Scott, it's been a while. At least I got a chance to bump into you last time the legislative body was in session, but you were kind of busy then, weren't you?
Yeah, it was, and it has been a while. Thanks for the opportunity to come on the air. How have you been?
I'm actually doing way too much stuff, and I'm surprised I'm not in trouble yet. But that's a whole nother story. You know that.
Yeah.
Here's the reason that I have you on, because you got into a bit of a squabble with another one of our representatives, and it had to do with the school system down here. We have a school system where a couple of little flyers were put up on a wall, and they had some racist and homophobic comments on them, and this whole thing kind of blew up. First off, why? This is one of the questions I was asked to ask you. Why are you getting involved from way up in Campbell County in what the school district is doing down here? What was the cause?
Right. So let me just start out by saying that I think everybody agrees, and I would certainly say that the flyers that were put up were awful and disturbing, and the school district should take appropriate disciplinary action, which I'm confident that they will do, or if they are working on that. Okay. So that's number one. But the main issue here is I am, quite frankly, I've watched Wyoming Equality do a particular tactic over and over again, and I find it disturbing, and quite frankly, it's just sickening. Okay. And that is they're exploiting our children in the media. This happened most recently with Lynn Hutchins, your senator down there in Cheyenne, and it's happened here with this incident here too. And the issue is they're exploiting children in the media for media attention to advocate for their cause.
Okay, so with Lynn Hutchins, for those who forgot that one, that's where she was talking to some students from the Gay Straight Alliance, and I believe some of them were from this very high school, and Lynn Hutchins turned and gave to them an example, if you will, an illustration to make her argument, and I believe that, I think you and I agree, they took that completely out of context, what she said, but she was talking to these same students at the time.
Correct. And the fact of the matter is, if they had an issue, I have no problem with following the chain of command, following protocols. If you have an issue, by all means, speak up. But you don't take it directly to the media and drag all of these kids and make them the poster child for your cause. That's the issue.
Okay, so now we get back to the schools here. Again, a couple of posters were put up. Now, see if you agree with me on my take on this. My thought is, well, if a couple of these little flyers were put up, and that's all we found were a couple of little flyers, and as far as I know, unless you've heard any different, only one kid has gotten in trouble that I'm aware of, and we still don't know what exactly his motivations were. I mean, is he just a troublemaker? Is he actually filled with this kind of hate? Is it a hoax? I don't know. But I would say just deal with that one kid, if that's indeed what the problem is. And then this has nothing to do with the administration of the school, had nothing to do with the teachers or the other students. They can all just get back to work.
Well, that's exactly right. This whole thing should have been handled discreetly and professionally. And just to give you an example, for 13 years, I worked at a residential group home, and I ran it for a number of years as well. And I would often get either kids or staff would bring things to my attention. And then later on, I would sometimes get, complaints from kids or staff saying, you didn't handle a situation. Well, the fact of the matter is I did, or I was working on it. It takes time to investigate. It takes time to do the right thing. And the other issue there is you don't go out and advertise and say, this is what I did to so-and-so.
Right.
That's not right. You handle things discreetly. So my beef is that, you had these flyers come up. What should have handled it should have been brought to the principal. Now, if the principal didn't do anything, like it's being claimed that by some that's what happened, as an employee, a volunteer, substitute teacher, whatever, staff should have the wherewithal, and they should know that it's never appropriate to take an issue that you disagree with as far as administrator. You take that directly to the media. There is
Okay,
a
so
chain of
in
command
this
in your
case,
school
are
district.
we talking about the substitute teacher that was fired and then later rehired? So that's the one who took it directly to the media and to Wyoming Equality.
That's the issue, right? If you work for the school district, I mean, you should know. You should know. And the thing is you're entrusted with the care of these children, right? You have to guard their privacy, and you have to guard really their safety. You don't take things to the media and blast it out for everybody to comment, and then drag a poor group of students or a student through the mud. This 14, 13-year-old, whoever he or she is, that did this made a stupid, poor mistake. But they shouldn't have to be tried in the whole public arena, and be made a mockery. The family shouldn't come under scrutiny, all this kind of stuff. I was a 13 and 14-year-old kid once, so were you, Glenn, and we made some stupid decisions. And thank God, hopefully we learned from some of those decisions. And that's what should have been handled here. If the principal didn't do anything, like it was claimed by the substitute teacher, then she should have went to the superintendent. If the superintendent didn't do anything, then you take it to the school board. There is a chain of command, but it's never appropriate, never, to take our kids, these issues regarding our kids, and go directly to the media. And the thing is if this substitute teacher didn't have the wherewithal, wherewithal, I guess, not to do that, and she went to Wyoming Equality, which is fine. You go to an outside resource for help. At least Wyoming Equality should have known better, and they did this anyway. And that's my issue. And that's what I said on Facebook is I publicly called out Wyoming Equality, and I said, I want you to publicly commit that starting right now, you will not bring any initial incidents regarding underage minor children to the media, that you will try to work on those privately and not publicly. And granted, if something gets out there publicly, well, then that's it. I'm not against people sharing stuff on social media and all that, but I'm talking about initial publications, and they shouldn't be doing this. This is a habitual thing with Wyoming Equality. It needs to stop. And the thing is, it's dividing your community. It's causing nothing but division and strife. It's not helpful. And we shouldn't be doing that with our children. That's my issue.
Representative Burlingame, also head of Wyoming Equality currently, she offered to either have a private phone call with you, or she's going to be up there. She invited you to dinner. She's going to be up there for some business. So why don't you two sit down, have some dinner, and talk privately about this? That was her offer to you.
Yeah. Well, in my reply was, it's too bad the junior high incident wasn't allowed to be handled privately, right? These poor kids of that school had to be embroiled in controversy because a third party never gave the school the opportunity to handle the situation privately. So she wants to have a private conversation about Wyoming Equality's actions. Oh, I'm disappointed that the school was never given that opportunity. And I'm glad to sit down and talk with her. We're colleagues. And as a leader of the state, you know what? I think it's totally appropriate for her to say, you know what, we're not going to put our kids in a situation where they're going to be embroiled in controversy. We're going to protect their privacy and safety, and we're not going to use them to exploit political agendas. That's what I want.
Okay, now what do you think about, because we had extensively this conversation here on the air, myself and the listeners, about allowing different kinds of groups. There's a Gay Straight Alliance in the school, and there's many other different groups as well. Should that be something that happens in our public schools, or should those organizations be taken off the campus?
I've been relatively silent on that, and that's simply not my issue. My issue is don't exploit our children.
Right, got it.
I as far as extracurricular, my thought is as long as you're not doing it during school hours, you do it after school, and you make it it's either all or none, right? So if you've got a Gay Straight Alliance group that's meeting after school in one part of the building, and then you have a Christian youth group or something like that wants to meet somewhere else, that they both should be given that opportunity. Or if only one is, then none of it should happen. But it shouldn't be done during school hours by any means. I mean, you go to school for one reason, that's to learn, right? Not to. I mean, it's great. I understand the social aspect of school and everything like that, but but it's a time to learn. It's about reading, writing, arithmetic, math, science. It's about learning those life skills that you're going to need and that knowledge so that you can become successful in life.
So you're going to take Sarah up on her offer to have dinner somewhere or a cup of coffee and talk about this, or?
I meet with her probably openly and with another person. I'm kind of like Vice President Pence. I don't like to meet with other ladies if possible without my wife or another person present. But I'm willing to do that. But my issue is this, and I'm just I tried to drive the point home. You want to talk about this privately, but you weren't given the school wasn't given the opportunity to do that. And people would say, well, the principal wasn't doing anything. Well, that's where my point comes in about being a supervisor. You don't always know. Other people don't always know what the principal or someone is doing. There's investigation that goes on. When you do discipline a kid in those circumstances, you don't publicize it. Oh, we disciplined so and so. It's usually a private affair. Why? Because you're concerned about the safety of that kid. You make it a teaching opportunity. And so you may not know everything that goes on, but if you're concerned, there's a chain of command, and that chain of command doesn't include exploiting children in the media. That's the issue.
Okay. Scott, thanks for coming on. I appreciate your time. And if I hear anything from Sarah, because she's certainly been invited on this program, if not, our news guy, Doug, is happy to sit down and have a conversation. We can hear what she has to say. And if she makes any comments, I'll go ahead and send it your way so you can continue the conversation. So what do you think happens next with the school? Are you going to, was it just you making this statement, or is there going to be any further involvement by you?
As far as me,
yeah.
Hey, this is an issue that's happening in your community. I guess my whole thing and why I've kind of started off here is Wyoming equality for those who are trying to promote an agenda need to stop exploiting our kids.
Okay.
You want to fight in the adult world? Go ahead. If there's an issue that happens with adults, by all means, raise a fuss. I don't care. I'll fight for your right to raise a fuss. But when it comes to our underage minor children, hands off.
All right, Scott,
that's my issue.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.